This courtroom hearing quickly turns into a clash between reality and pseudo-law when a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen argues that the rules simply don't apply to him. The defendant is facing multiple charges: driving without a license, no insurance, and an expired license plate, but instead of addressing the violations, he insists he is operating under natural law and outside the jurisdiction of the United States. From the very beginning, he declares himself a Morris American and claims to be indigenous to the land, submitting pages of paperwork filled with references to divine law, international law, and constitutional rights. The judge listens patiently but repeatedly asks a simple question: how does any of this excuse driving without legal documentation? As the hearing continues, the defendant confidently cites past court cases, believing they prove his right to travel without a license. That confidence doesn't last long. The judge methodically explains that the cases are being completely misinterpreted and, in fact, directly contradict the defendant's claims. The courtroom tension rises as each argument is dismantled one by one. In the end, the judge delivers a clear ruling: guilty on the charges related to the license, insurance, and expired plates. Even then, the defendant refuses to back down, demanding a jury trial and prolonging the process further. The moment serves as a powerful reminder: no matter how convincing the paperwork sounds, imaginary laws don't override real ones, and the courtroom is not the place where fantasy beats facts.
Grayson Bay, I did receive the documentations that you had. He has a table of contents here. He has a declaration of nationality, legal notice, declaration of nationality, name correction, proclamation, public and publication, judicial notice and proclamation to all elected United States Republic office and public servant of federal, state, city, and municipal governments, personnel, and corporate entities concerning the Constitution and all statutory and civil law codes of the land. Know all men, etc. Know all men be these present. I, Grayson Bay, being duly affirmed, standing squarely, declare and proclaim upon divine law, naturals law, universal law, Morris birthrights international law, and constitutional law, declare and say, I, being previously identified by the Union States Society of North America USA under the colorable warship name Javar Tyrone Grayson. I'm not going to continue to read the rest of that.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well said, though. Thank you.
I just don't have a clue of what's going on with this.
Just a declaration of my nationality, Your Honor. Thank you, though. Well said, though.
Okay. So, and how? What am I supposed to take of this? You know, are you saying you're not American?
I'm Morris American from
Okay.
the land of Exuma, Turtle Island. The issue is the corporation of United States, and that's the issue. And I'm under a natural law as Grayson Bay. I'm in natural form now as a man. Excellent. You pronounce things perfectly. Yeah, but that's my nationality.
Right, so let's get to this.
Once again, I did proclaim that the court didn't have jurisdiction over me. That's where we were at.
For this matter, you know, Miss Snyder I guess she's assigned and she's going to be handling this matter. You said it's set for jury trial tomorrow.
Yeah, what I wanted to do was this, because I mean, I'm prepared to rule on some of this without even a jury trial. The only matter that I was really is the false name issue, which is what probably I'll let a jury decide on that, because this other stuff. That's why I had you on. There was an opportunity. These were things that were filed that he had filed. And I don't know if you've read them or had a response, or I know you probably haven't, but your office. It says, notice to all law enforcement, nationals or citizens are not required to show identification to a police officer. So what I'm going to do, he cited a Supreme Court case, Collender versus Lawson, 461 U.S. 352, 1983. And it says, in which the United States Supreme Court ruled that a police officer could not arrest a citizen merely for refusing to present identification. Now, I'm not even going, did you get arrested, Mr. Grayson Bay?
I was obtained.
So if there's no arrest, then how is this even pertinent here?
And under my jurisdiction, that's an arrest.
But we're not under your jurisdiction.
Once he touched my vehicle, it's a violation.
Well, listen, I don't recognize your jurisdiction in this court. I recognize the state of Michigan ordinances and laws and the Michigan court rules. So I'm going to conclude that this based on this document that you've given me, this would be your lead case. That I'm not going to consider that necessarily an arrest. You weren't taken into custody, were you?
Yeah,
I know. Okay, that's yeah. I don't have anything. If that's your authority that I just read as far as your Morris Nation, I don't understand that.
Your Honor, also I'm not asking for a jury trial. I'm asking for you to make this decision.
Right, but I told you that I'm not going to waive your jury trial rights. You're going to let
I don't want a jury trial. I want you. I trust you.
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
I trust you. I think you can make a firm decision and what's going on here. I'm pretty sure you see.
I'm going to make a decision right now on this stuff right now on most of it. All I told you I'm going to do is the failure to ID.
Oh, sure. I don't want this to hang up now.
The failure, false info, and ID. I'm not going to make a decision on that. I'm going to let a jury make the decision on that.
I'm not really getting an understanding. I mean, I don't think you can even find 12 Morris people to even judge me with my peers. I mean, I'm not even going to consent to that. So I don't understand.
Well, how are you going to let me? Why do you want me to do it? I'm not Morris.
Well, then you need to I'll file a motion to dismiss this case.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Okay.
You got to file those motions on your own.
I'm telling you verbally right now. I'm filing a motion to dismiss this case.
Okay, I'm going to dismiss. I'm not going to grant the motion.
Take it to the next level.
Motion
I'm not
denied.
paying. I'm not paying. That's just it. I'm Morris American, man. I'm Morris American. Okay?
I'm not gonna go back.
That's my birthright.
Listen, I understand that. Listen, right. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. I'm not disputing.
Right. I don't even think the prosecutor even wanted to attempt to even battle this. And it's not even against you, Judge. I understand your situation. You wants to be the ref. You can be the referee in this, but I don't think the prosecutor even want to go through this.
All right.
Motion to dismiss, Your Honor.
I'm not gonna grant it.
Okay. Well,
speak with Ms. Tucker and Mr. Greer. All right.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tucker. Can you go back to the breakout room? Just tap your prompt. Tap your prompt, please.
Your Honor, I need you to accuse yourself.
Yeah. All right. No, I'm going to continue on. So that's the case he cited.
I filed a motion for you to accuse yourself.
I'm going to deny it.
Okay. Well,
you can put it in writing. I'll deny it. So let's continue on with this notice to all law enforcement that the Supreme Court case was cited, and I haven't read that case yet, but I'll look it up. There is no such thing as failure to identify. You can sue the police for an illegal arrest and resist arrest with impunity. Okay, so he cited some cases here, State versus Robinson, looks like a Maryland case. State versus Mobley in those North Carolina case, State versus Adams versus State, Georgia case. And I guess you're saying on those cases that the person did not have to, you can sue the police, that they sued the police and successfully sued the police for their a wrongful arrest and resisting arrest.
Personal, excuse me. I also have Thompson versus Smith, the right to travel.
Well, that's on the next. I'm going under the failure to identify heading there.
Oh, okay.
That's under the next heading. So the next heading is personal liberty, the right or power of locomotion, of changing one's situation, or moving one's person to whatsoever place one's own inclination may direct without imprisonment or restraint, unless by due course of law. Unless by due course of law. Now, I don't know where you got this. If this is the law, you didn't cite anything from that.
It goes on into Thompson versus Smith, the right of a citizen to travel.
Okay, the right of a citizen to travel upon public highways and to transport one's property thereon, either by carriage or automobile, is not a mere privilege which a city may prohibit or permit at will, but a common right which she has under the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
And again,
I believe I've read
Merlock versus.
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait, let's deal with this one right quick. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, no problem.
What are you saying? What do you believe this case says?
Are you referring to me, Your Honor?
Yes.
It says what it says. I'm just waiting on your decision. I'm here to defend my birthright and my nationality. When you say that 5-pointed star on the street, leave me alone. That's my nationality. That's all I ask for. We should be questioning the officer for even bringing me to you. They got to have respect for that nationality, and that's all I'm here to prove. My nationality and my birthright. All that other color stuff and colorism calling me black, I'm not permitting that. I'm sorry. You're not going to pull me over because I'm driving around black. That is real.
The courtroom is quiet as the hearing begins, but it doesn't take long for the tension to surface. The defendant steps forward, not as someone preparing to answer routine traffic charges, but as a man determined to challenge the very authority of the court itself. What should have been a straightforward case involving driving without a license, no insurance, and an expired plate quickly turns into something far more complicated. From the very start, the defendant makes it clear that he rejects the labels placed on him by the state. He does not acknowledge himself as a citizen in the traditional sense. Instead, he declares himself a Morris American, claiming indigenous status and insisting that he exists outside the jurisdiction of the United States. According to him, modern laws do not apply. He believes he operates under what he calls divine law, natural law, and universal law, systems he claims are superior to statutory law. The judge listens carefully, allowing the defendant to speak at length. A thick stack of paperwork is handed over, filled with legal terminology, historical references, and bold declarations of sovereignty. The document cites constitutional provisions, international law, and supposed birthrights, all woven together into a narrative meant to sound authoritative. The defendant speaks confidently, clearly believing that the words on those pages hold the power to dissolve the charges instantly. But the judge's role is not to be impressed by language, it is to apply the law. After reviewing the submission, the judge pauses and asks a simple question: what relevance does this document have to the charges at hand? The defendant responds by reiterating his position, explaining that he is appearing in his natural form, and not as the legal entity recognized by the state. He insists that the court has no authority over him because he does not consent to its jurisdiction. This is where the divide becomes unmistakable. The defendant speaks in abstractions, concepts of sovereignty, identity, and personal interpretation, while the judge focuses on concrete facts. Was the defendant driving a motor vehicle on a public road? Did he have a valid license? Was the vehicle insured and properly registered? These are the questions that matter in this courtroom. As the hearing continues, the defendant attempts to strengthen his position by citing court cases. He references past rulings that he believes establish an unrestricted right to travel. He speaks as though these cases are well-known trump cards, capable of dismantling traffic laws entirely. In his telling, licensing requirements are unconstitutional, and enforcement of them is a violation of fundamental rights. The judge does not interrupt. Instead, he waits, then begins addressing each citation calmly and methodically. He explains that the cases being referenced are widely misunderstood by those who promote sovereign citizen theories. The right to travel, the judge explains, does not mean the right to operate a motor vehicle without regulation. Courts have repeatedly held that driving is subject to reasonable rules designed to protect public safety. One by one, the judge clarifies the actual meaning of the cases. Far from supporting the defendant's argument, they reinforce the state's authority to require licenses, insurance, and registration. The judge explains that these laws are not arbitrary, they exist to ensure accountability, safety, and order on public roads. Without them, chaos would follow. The defendant grows visibly frustrated. He attempts to redirect the conversation, repeating phrases about consent, jurisdiction, and identity. He insists that because he does not recognize the authority of the court cannot lawfully act against him. But the judge remains firm, explaining that jurisdiction is not a matter of personal belief. Presence within the state and use of public infrastructure is enough to establish it. The courtroom atmosphere shifts as it becomes increasingly clear that the defendant's arguments are not landing. The judge explains that legal systems operate on established precedent, not individual interpretations. Personal philosophies, no matter how passionately defended, do not override codified law. At several points, the defendant attempts to interrupt, asking questions framed as challenges rather than requests for clarification. Each time, the judge redirects the discussion back to the facts. Was a driver's license presented when requested? Was proof of insurance available? Was the license plate valid? The answers are straightforward, even if the defendant refuses to acknowledge them. Eventually, the judge delivers his ruling. The defendant is found guilty of refusing to exhibit a driver's license, driving without insurance, and operating a vehicle with an expired plate. The decision is clear, direct, and supported by established law. The courtroom does not erupt, there is no dramatic outburst, but the tension remains thick. Even after the ruling, the defendant refuses to concede. He demands a jury trial, continuing to assert that the proceedings are illegitimate. The judge explains the process, noting which matters may proceed to trial and which have already been decided. The defendant's persistence, while legally ineffective, continues to slow the process. What becomes evident by the end of the hearing is not just the failure of pseudo-legal arguments, but the cost of them. Time is spent addressing claims that have been rejected countless times by courts across the country. Resources are consumed. Proceedings are delayed. And yet, the outcome remains the same. This hearing serves as a powerful example of what happens when ideology collides with reality in a courtroom. The law does not bend to personal belief systems. It does not recognize self-declared exemptions. It applies equally, regardless of how creatively someone tries to redefine themselves. In the end, the case is not about sovereignty or identity, it is about responsibility. Driving on public roads comes with obligations. Licenses, insurance, and registration are not optional. And no amount of paperwork or legal-sounding language can change that simple truth.
DWB is real. But when you turn around and have a nationality, that's where it stops. He probably shouldn't have brought me to you, and that's the issue. We should be holding him accountable for his actions, not you or the prosecutor. I'm pretty sure the prosecutor don't even want to battle this. But I'm going to stand on my birthright and my nationality. That's my right. That's my common law. I'm very passionate about it, Your Honor, as you can see. So if I seem a little upset, or if I get a little, mischief at you, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But my birthright will stand. I don't want to be a United States citizen no more. I'm not subject to United States no more. I'm tired of paying taxes. I can't even afford the insurance. My birthright is all I'm standing on. That's all I have, Your Honor. All due respect. I'm Morris American. I'm indigenous to this land. Nobody dragged me from Africa. This is my land. And you're going to respect me when you see that flag. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go back to what you filed here. Thomas versus Smith, 154 Southeast 579. I think you need to read that in its entirety, because this is one of the cases that I've seen before that has been filed, and it appears to the court that it's saying exactly the opposite of what you believe it's saying. It is saying that the city can revoke your license. You don't have the authority to operate a vehicle on the city streets.
You want to battle the dead entity. That's what it is. You want to charge me on this dead entity side, and I can't.
No, I don't know what you mean by charging on the dead. I'm going by. Wait a minute. Here's how it's gonna work. I'm gonna talk. You're gonna listen. I'll let you talk.
Yep.
I'll let you talk. I'll listen.
Let's get it. You're right.
You filed this.
That's right.
You cited this case law. Okay, so you're saying, and I'm giving you the benefit of going over this stuff.
Thank you.
This is another case that I'm gonna that you cited, that I am going to tell you that it's actually Shuttlesworth versus Birmingham. This is the court actually takes offense to you filing this.
It's a court case.
I do.
It's a court case. How would you be offensive?
I'm taking offense to you filing this and using this in your filing as a reason for you not to have a driver's license. And I don't know if you've read this case or not. It doesn't seem and appear that you've read any of these cases thoroughly, because I've gone through each one of these cases at different times, and if they each of them say exactly the opposite of what you appear that it says. And the Shuttlesworth case goes back to a time in history where we're still dealing with, where Reverend Shuttlesworth was a reverend in Birmingham, Alabama. And you're citing this case to saying that Shuttlesworth was saying that he can drive without a valid driver's license.
Definitely travel.
That analogy to this case, and it's saying nothing of that sort. And I wish you would take time and read to what this case is saying, because I don't even think you, as a Moorish American, would I think you would retract this case law right here from what you've filed. You're using the people in the civil rights era who are trying to fight for their rights to march on down a public street. That's what this case was about. He's taken his congregation down a public street. He walked them on the sidewalk. He did not interfere with any traffic, and he crossed the street not against the lights or anything, and they still arrested Mr. Shuttlesworth for not having a license to congregate.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but
you're right.
You're saying that he needs to have a license. That is analogous to you not having a license to drive.
If he want to proclaim he's black, he needed a license.
All right, I'm done with this. I've spent enough time on this, and as what I'm going to do is I'm going to rule on the cases ahead of trial for the refusal to exhibit driver's license. I'm going to find you guilty of that. For the refusal of for having no insurance and no proof, I'm going to find you responsible. I'm going to find you responsible for an expired plate. We'll go to trial on the seatbelt, on a formal hearing on the seatbelt issue tomorrow, and the false ID tomorrow. All right, that's going to be the ruling of the court. If there's nothing further, Mr.
Yeah, there is, Your Honor. Can you send that information in writing? You have the address
on the ROA, and you can get a transcript made up by the court. All right.
Okay.
What time you gotta be?
What time is court tomorrow?
It's gonna be come on at 8:30.
Okay, you're gonna do this again? Because no jury trial.
It's gonna be a jury trial. All right.
I want a jury trial.
But you don't make the rules.
But tomorrow, I'm
this is my
going to
courtroom.
request and
Jury trial tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.